As promised, I'm bringing you the top 10 fears I asked on my community page about 5 days ago. I asked you, as first time buyers, what are your top 10 fears? So I'm going to go over the top 10 because I want you to get out of fear and get into action to become a first time home buyer. This is Shaheedah Hill, getting you over the hill to home ownership and helping you confidently, keyword confidently, buy your first home. So the first major fear, and I hear this a lot, that's why I made it number one, not being approved or fearing rejection, okay? So first, I want you to fear never owning more than getting rejected. So replace that fear with, I may never own a house, I need to do something different. And the gap between wealth, between homeowners and renters is huge, over 6 figures. So you want to be a homeowner at some point, okay? Now, I want you to get over that fear because even if you get rejected, it will be the best information source you can get for free, okay? That lender, if you get a good one, remember I always say go to the realtor first, then the lender. If you get a good lender, and you are not approved, they are going to tell you exactly why, and bonus, they will tell you what you can do to fix it. So most people are rejected because of credit and debt to income ratio for the most part. So if your credit is not good, almost all lenders have simulators where they can tell you specifically what you need to do, how high you need to get it up, and what will get it up the fastest. And then secondly, the other fear is DTI ratio. They probably can't help you get your income up, but again, either get your income up or you pay down debt. Either one, they'll tell you where that number needs to be. So you're going to get, even if rejected, you're going to get information that's going to make you a homeowner in less time than it would be if you just sit around, I don't know, I'm so scared to do it, I'm so scared to do it. Do it. Do it. And if you haven't already, join my first time buyers Facebook group where people are doing it and doing it all the time, getting their approvals, getting approved, not getting approved, and working through it. Number two, not being able to find a house in an affordable neighborhood, in an affordable and keyword safe neighborhood. So this is what I want you to think about if you're worried about affordable and safe. In your city, where are those neighborhoods? What neighborhoods are both not crime free, no place is crime free, but what neighborhoods are the safest, low crime, and affordable? Because affordable is relative. What's affordable for someone is not affordable to other people. I want you to do that research. I want you to go on Zillow, because you have access to that, or realtor.com. Go on one of those sites and say, okay, this is my price range. Where are these houses? Where can I find these houses? Then I want you to go to crime maps. Every police, local police, county police, city police, they have crime maps in most major cities. And I want you to put in addresses that match your price range. And then I want you to see, okay, is that a high crime neighborhood at this price? And I want you to start moving farther and farther out from the city until you find one that's both affordable and safe. Affordable and safe. And then when it's time for you to buy and you're talking to your realtor, you can say, you know what? These are the 3 neighborhoods that I want to be in. I know they're both affordable and I know that they're safe. So then you're in a place of, knowledge. When I say the confidently close thing, want you to confidently buy your first home, the first thing that builds confidence is knowledge. Because when you're knowledgeable, you're confident about what you're doing. It's when you're not sure about something that you lose confidence. So you're going to be sure that these neighborhoods have low crime and they're in my price range. Number 3, losing earnest money. So you put up some earnest money, whatever it is, it might be 1% of the sales price. That's what was common. 1%. So if you were buying a $400,000 house, then you are putting up $4,000. It's increased. In a seller's market, it definitely will be more. In a buyer's market, it'll be less. But whatever you're putting up for earnest money, when you put that money up initially, there are a few safeguards in your contract that will allow you to get that money back. There are 3 major ones. Okay, I'm just going to go over those 3. Your due diligence period. You'll have a period that you get to look at the house, you get to inspect the house, you can get, other people to come in to look at the house. And in that time period, it could be a certain amount of days. It varies by, area and by the type of market we're in. But in that time period, if you find something that you are not comfortable with, you can terminate your contract and you can get your full earnest money back. And then you have a finance contingency. Right now, most people are just, when you're getting started, you're just pre-approved. But then you have to go through underwriting for them to fully approve you. And sometimes when you go through underwriting, they deny you. Not very often. If you haven't watched my underwriting video, watch that. It's not very often that they deny you at underwriting if they pre-approve you initially. But sometimes it does happen. You have a finance contingency that says, if I'm denied, I can get my full earnest money back because I was denied financing. Now, you have to work with your realtor to make sure you have a finance contingency and work with your lender to make sure you get through underwriting before that finance contingency expires. But those are your safeguards so you don't lose your earnest money. Last one, appraisal contingency. Appraisal contingency allows you, if that house is not appraised for the contract price, you can terminate and get your money back. For FHA loans and VA loans, this is guaranteed to you. Even if you wrote something in the special stipulations that says, I'll pay over, I'll waive my appraisal, you can still get your earnest money back. If, when you're talking to your agent and they don't know about the due diligence period, the finance contingency, the appraisal contingency, you need another realtor. You should tell them, I don't want to lose my earnest money. What are my safeguards to get it back? Now, once all of these contingencies expire, then you are at risk. If you come to closing and you're like, I changed my mind and we're at closing, that seller has put their house off the market for I don't know how long, and you decided the last minute you're not going to get the house, they probably are going to be entitled to your earnest money. So next, number 4, maintenance costs. Okay. So sorry, let me go back to number 3, those 3 things. I want you, in a seller's market, some people waive some of these contingencies. If losing that earnest money is going to be detrimental to your finances, don't waive them. Do not waive them. Don't have somebody force you in or convince you to waive something, and if you lost that money, it would be detrimental to you. Don't do it. Number 4, maintenance costs. The fear of coming into a house and something major happening and you cannot afford to fix it. You can't afford to fix it. So first of all, maintaining a home, you're basically like brushing and flossing your teeth, okay? You brush and you floss so you don't have to get a root canal. That's going to be very expensive. So once you get in a house, you want to make sure you're maintaining it. But before you buy, you're going to get inspections. Get as many inspections as makes you comfortable. Most people just get one inspection and then they know what's going on with that house and what condition it's in. If it makes you more comfortable, you don't trust that inspector, do 2. Like, inspections are not super expensive. So if whatever makes you most comfortable to make sure this surprise thing doesn't happen, then you want to do that. But I want to run down some of the most expensive things in your home and how long they typically last. Your compressor, what can I say that? Is 8 to 15 years. Sorry about that. Your furnace is 15 to 20 years. Your roof is 17 to 20 years. Your water heater is 8 to 12 years. And your appliances are 10 to 15 years. So all of those things, hopefully I didn't miss anything that was major. I said AC, gas, your heater, roof, water heater, appliances. So if and I'll list that below, so just in case I missed anything, if you know what age home all of those things are, like what are the ages of those components when you move in, then you can kind of prepare and have enough savings set aside if one of those needed to be repaired or replaced, that you have the funds to do so. I wouldn't move in a house if you don't have some savings set aside to address these things. That will eliminate that fear for you, because okay, if something happens, the likelihood is maybe small because they're maybe in a good lifespan, but if it does happen, I have the money to take care of it. And very rarely does everything happen at once. If you've been maintaining it and they're saying, oh, it's in good condition, it should last for a little while, then you should be good. You don't get root canals all at once unless you really haven't been doing anything with your teeth. So you really just want to make sure you're maintaining them and you have an emergency fund to deal with any of the expenses. If I missed something with the years, I'll put it in the description. Number 5, no one will accept my down payment assistance offer, okay? So this is kind of scary. I know I deal with a lot of people that do down payment assistance, and it is scary, especially when there are multiple offers. It is very difficult for a seller to accept your down payment assistance offer. There's a lot of reasons. I've put them in other videos, but I want to say 2 things. One is it going to be on your pre-approval at all? Not all down payment assistance do you have to disclose. That's one thing. So you want to know if you're going to do down payment assistance, and typically it will be on your pre-approval letter, okay? So you want to know from your lender, is it going to be on my pre-approval letter? Do I have to disclose to the sellers that I'm using down payment assistance? In some assistance programs, you do not. So that's number 1. Number 2 is they may not want to accept your offer because of your down payment assistance. So you want to do a couple of things. 1, get your mindset together that it might take you longer. So it might take you longer. The other mindset I want you to get together is while I'm waiting, I'm going to start saving so I can perhaps get a house and I won't need the down payment assistance. So either one, like sometimes people just wait a little bit longer, they find something. Some people are saving and they do both. If I can get down payment assistance, I'll use it. If not, I won't. So you want to give yourself as many options as possible. If you haven't already, download my guide. Don't do it right now because I still have 5 more left, but I have a guide that'll tell you exactly where I want you to start. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for all of my videos. You'll get notified. Thank you so much. Number 6, losing your job and possibly losing your house, okay? So this is basically foreclosure. You're scared your income will drop, something will happen, and you will not be able to pay your mortgage. Let's talk this through really quickly. What happens if you lose your job and you can't pay your rent? The same thing happens. You'll probably be evicted. And I would say you would be evicted way faster than you will be foreclosed on in a lot of cases. The lender and most lenders do not want your house. They don't want your house. They're not in the business of foreclosing, taking property and selling it back. They don't want it. So if you want to check ahead of time just to make sure, like, what happens if I can't afford to pay? What mitigation, what do they have that, if I can't pay, what are my options? There are plenty of them. Not only are there government options that can help you a little bit, there are also options with your lender where they can try to work it out so they don't foreclose. If you can get where you're back on payments after a couple of months or so, they will not foreclose. And it takes them, again, a long time to foreclose on you, way longer than rent. And so say, you couldn't find another job, you're down on your luck, and I want you to have a emergency fund too. So if you do lose your job, you have that emergency fund and you can still pay your bills. But if this happens to you and you have to foreclose, and again, let me say this, you could sell the house, you could rent the house, you could rent out, stay with family. Foreclose is really, you can't sublet your apartment usually. You can't sell your apartment if you can't pay rent. But if you couldn't pay your rent, you could sell, you could go on Airbnb. You have plenty of options you can do if you own something rather than rent. So I'd rather lose my job as a homeowner than to lose my job as a renter, because I don't have as many options as I have as a homeowner. So I want you to do that. I was going to say something else, but I think I forgot. I might come back to it. Okay. But you have way more options with foreclosure or potential foreclosure than you have if you are just renting. Number 7, I know what I wanted to say now. Sorry. What I wanted to say was foreclosure. If you do foreclose, it will hurt your credit. Say you're paying everything else on time. It'll hurt your credit maybe 60 to 80 to 100 points. I would say that. But you'll be allowed and you can buy a house after 3 years. So after 3 years, you can buy again. Okay, so don't feel that bad. But again, way more options in home ownership than losing your job or losing your income as a renter. Number 7, the fear is finding a realtor that specializes in first-time home buyers. So finding a realtor that specializes in first-time home buyers. Now, most people found me in Atlanta because I did videos on first-time buyers, first-time buyer programs in the Atlanta area. So they knew that I specialized in first-time home buyers. So if you could find a realtor that already has information out there for first-time home buyers, that will be ideal. Also, if you find a realtor, I want you to Google them. If what comes up is not information about how to buy a house, what area I serve, what do I do, or you see all homes that are, luxury properties and you're not a luxury first-time buyer, then that may not be your agent. They may be very impressive, they may be really good, but if they're used to selling $3 million, $10 million houses, or even $1 million houses, and your budget is $200,000, you make money as an agent based on the commission of that property. So the more expensive that property is, the more money the agent will make. So they may take you on as a client, but are you going to get the same service that you would get with somebody else if they're making a whole bunch of money? Some agents are able to do both. They treat the $200,000 person the same way they treat the $10 million person, and some people do not. So you're going to be able to get a vibe from them, but check their social media. I want you to check their Google. I want you to Google them. I want you to see what is there to see that makes you feel like they would be patient, that they're going to educate you, and that they're going to really take their time and take you through the process step by step. All right, 3 more. I'm almost there. Okay. Number 8, the fear is not understanding the contract. Okay. Number 1, real estate contracts are not that complicated. Remember, you can get your real estate license, and you can buy a house starting at 18. They're not that complicated. But your real estate agent, or if you're going to use an attorney, they will be able to explain it to you in a way that you can understand it. If they cannot explain it to you in a way that you understand each and everything that you're signing, then I want you to choose another agent or another attorney, okay? You shouldn't feel dumb if you're asking questions and you're spending the most money you've ever spent in your life. If they make you feel like, I don't know if I should ask that, they're going to think that's dumb, then that's probably not the agent or the attorney for you. You need to be able, number 1, they need to be able to explain it. Number 2, you need to be able to understand it. If they've explained it and you don't understand it, y'all need to keep on talking until you do. Okay, so I want you to make sure you understand before you sign anything, and a lot of things are coming over, they're DocuSign, they're electronic signatures. Do not just sign things that you don't fully understand what you're signing. And then you won't be scared. If you know what you're doing, again, that confidence, you won't be fearful to sign it because, okay, I know why I'm signing this, okay? Number 9, and this is a big one in our current market. The market is going to crash, and I'm going to be underwater, okay? Now, this did happen in 2008, and I would say this, the market is not expected to crash. I'm gonna put a link below for some data that's gonna tell you, about the market and its expectations, at least over the next year or 2 years, okay? I'll link that below. But the market is not expected to crash. But over time, you may have dips in the market. Everything in real estate doesn't always go up. Usually it does, but it's not always where you're going to get, my house is worth 20% more each year. After COVID things and inflation, things went up very quickly. That is not the norm. So you may have some time in life or in your life that you're a homeowner that things don't go up as much as they used to, or maybe that go down within a year. But over time, in the long run, you will end up on top in the majority of circumstances. You can research it, you can link, I'm trying to put a link below, you will be okay. And if it crashes, you won't be the only person underwater. There'll be a lot of people underwater at the same time. As long as you keep your job, if the market crashes, unemployment that may go back up, people may lose their jobs, that sort of thing. So number one, we don't really want the market to crash because it's going to impact a lot of people. But just like in 2008, everybody didn't foreclose. A lot of people stayed in their homes, and they're in those homes now selling at a high price point because they stayed in their homes and they stayed in their property. So if it does go down a little bit, it's going to go back up and you should be fine. So just kind of ride that wave. Real estate, especially real estate that you're living in, not like you're investing, you got to get in and out of the market. For home ownership is for the long term. So if you are not planning to live in this house for 5 to 7 years, you shouldn't be buying. If you're planning on living in a house for 1 or 2 years, then I would not buy right now. You need to be planning for the long term. If you're a home owner or you're buying a house, you need to be saying, I'm going to stay in here 5 to 7 or more years, and you should be fine because everything will eventually even out. Number 10, and this is our last one, spending all of my money on down payment and spending all of my money on closing costs and having no money left. If all you have is your down payment and your closing costs, wait until you have extra money. Ideally, you want 3 to 6 months of expenses. If you're in a job that's not very stable, and when I say stable, typically things that were stable were teaching jobs, stability, police officers, things that people rarely, I guess, get laid off in mass. Those were considered at one time to be stable positions. If you feel like you have a stable position, you probably can save a little bit less. But if you're in an unstable position, I want you to save a little bit more. So, but 3 to 6 months is good. Whatever makes you most comfortable. 6 months may be good. For me, I had to save for a year because I was going into real estate. And real estate, sometimes you have closings and sometimes you don't. But if after you buy your house, all your money is gone, you are not ready to buy. Because we're already talking about you need some money set aside for maintenance issues and that sort of thing. So my ending thing for that fear is eliminate the fear by waiting to buy. For number 10, if after you do your down payment and after you do your closing costs, you have no money left, eliminate that fear and wait until you have more money after those two things are paid for. Thank you so much. I hope this was helpful to help you go ahead and confidently buy your first home. Please like and subscribe to my channel for new videos every week.